Welcome to the beginning of the end. It's now time for the end or merger of Usufruct to start taking place. As the Bank of England fails and the American Federal Reserve says that it's got days left to operate. They're going to bail in bank accounts. They're going to swap over to food rationing and digital IDs. And you never thought it would come. And Australians will now say what Germans did in 1939. I can't believe this is happening to us. How did this come on us so quickly? It didn't. It's been creeping on you for the last 4 years and you never noticed it. And you've got mob crying out and not caring about Commonwealth. And right now there's a big argument over a nuclear waste dump in South Australia where traditional owners weren't consulted. It's because they traded the land away, traditio custodio, and that might smack you in the face now how serious this is. As homelessness increases in the country, and it's increasing big time now, as the tax department starts to clamp down on you and collect. ASIC have just collected $290 million in fines. All states are on their debt collection mode, collecting all of their unpaid fines that are basically burdens of finance, burdens of warfare, financial burdens. Made up rules to make you enslaved so that you would pay to live. It's what Scummo did to you all. It's what Elbow will do to you all. Hand you over to WEF partners under a foreign military. You haven't realised this yet. They're the ones that are going to hand out the food rations under the rules of the United Nations because you failed to come to any sort of self-determination under those rules in the United Nations. You wholeheartedly keep trying to keep Frankenstein's monster alive. I don't know what to say anymore. I gave you so many warnings. I've even tried to show you the war crimes that a foreign international executive branch power have committed on your soil. Heinous war crimes like mandates. And that's where all you police, all of you, all states, you were force mandated to keep your jobs working for a foreign machine in our land. Them force mandating vaccinations on employment should give you a stark warning and a stark revelation as to what they're doing with their digital ID and their jabby jab. Right, these are genetic modifications that they will come up with all sorts of vaccines for. A vaccine for cancer is the latest one, without you even knowing what the Cancer Act is. That they denied you treatment under the Cancer Act and instead attempted to poison you. There are many forms of cancer too. So you can see the modus operandi of a government power that took executive branch control of your government in 1967. Created themselves, Order of Australia, and pretended to be sovereign here when they are no more than administrators under the rules of Usufruct, Article 55, Hague 4, War on Land. They are under obligations to the United Nations and the international community. And those obligations include the Nuremberg, wherein the only way you're going to hold them to account to the war crimes that they've committed is to recognise that a foreign crown took power over your commonwealth or company that was supposed to operate for you in international waters, but now is under administration by foreign powers. They're the ones that lent you all the money through the IMF. You're the ones that took the citizenship to be able to take that credit machine. You're the ones that didn't realise who you were underneath it all. You're the ones that didn't realise where your boundaries were formed. You're the ones that didn't realise what repealing the Colonial Boundaries Act meant, yet you allowed them to lock down your state borders in a Biosecurity Act. You don't comprehend what biosecurity means to your food bowl into the future, because you're woke zombies, and they're going to protect the farms from the woke zombies under the Biosecurity Act. You go to the fence line of any farm today and you're going to see a big sign about Biosecurity Act 2015 that denies you entry into a property because the assumption is that you're the infected. You're the zombie. You're the debtor company. You're the one that can't pay off the interest on your loans. That's what a zombie is. Go Google zombie company and you'll start to understand what they've done to your person or your family estate. They've ripped you all off, stolen from you, nannied you into poverty, nannied you into debt, nannied you into having nothing. You'll own nothing, remember? Are you enjoying it yet? Cafe knocked out? He's got a point. You'll fight. You'll infight. You all have opinions, and your opinions are like assholes. Nobody wants to see them. There are rules on the table that are followed by the United Nations. There are rules on the table that are followed by the international community. And you have a right of self-determination to return back to the people you were before they got here. Unless you want to merge that into them and say goodbye to it forever. And my warning is go and look at the nuclear dump that they want to build in South Australia and tell me that traditional owners have control over their own land. You're traditio custodio. And the Commonwealth? It's too vested in a foreign blue flag with a 7-pointed star on it to recognise it as an administrator on your soil and nanny state. It's a nanny state government. It's been treating you like wards of the state since 1967 demise of the currency, wherein it believed you were incapable of returning back to any wealth. You've been conned ever since using Federal Reserve notes that are basically piggybacking off someone else's wealth, as that wealth is transferred from the Treasury into the Federal Reserve. Now you just need to look at the US Fed and what it's doing, and you'll work out what's going to come to Australia very fast. You look at the Treasurer of Australia going to America to get his orders. You look at Paul Keating saying Australia doesn't want to be owned, in quotes, by the USA. The only way that can stop is if you return back to the people you were before you were put under administration. Paul Keating is very right in a way, but his answer is to republic instead of return back through that gate where at the shrine eternal flame was lit to remind you to go home. Genesis 15:12-17. On the going down of the sun, we shall remember them. On the going down of the sun, in the morning, we shall remember them. At the dawn, we shall remember them. Notice how you haven't had a dawn service since 2018. Notice how you haven't had a Remembrance Day on holy ground since 2018. I wonder why that is. I wonder why they don't care. I wonder why they shot you up with gas canisters and rubber bullets while on that holy ground. It's time to think. It's time to look back. It's time to remember, lest ye forget.